All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official episode of the Capes and Lunatics podcast. I am Phil. With me is Charlie.
Hello.
And Miss Little Hellfire.
Sup?
Sup, girl. And we will be your official guides every week through movies, TV, comic books, basically anything we want to talk about. I don't care. If Charlie wants to reveal his love of ballet to the world, he can do that. I don't care. And Tyler couldn't
dance, but yes, Martha Graham. Yeah.
Tyler couldn't join us today, but we'll tack something on because this is a podcast also. So make sure you go and download our podcast also. Then Tyler will join us on another week, but he's busy he has children, and you know how your life gets with children.
No, I don't. Sorry.
Well, not you. I mean, listening to this. All right, but yeah, I wanted to get into this first episode, which I'm calling episode 0, just our geek cred and how we got into
Secret
everything.
Origins. Hello, Phil.
It's on there. I put it on there. So, like I was saying before, I think maybe we'll start by age. Maybe we'll go youngest to oldest. So, Lilith, you're first.
She's the little one.
Yes, I put the little one Lilith. I know.
She's Lilith. Lilith.
God, I mean, I've said this so many times by now. I've been podcasting since Smallville. Yes, Smallville. That was my very first podcast.
Since the beginning of Smallville?
Yeah, very beginning. It started off as a class project, and we just kind of kept going. I did take a break between seasons 5 and 7 because I was actually working on Smallville as a production assistant. So,
Ooh.
But other than that, I've pretty much been podcasting consistently since then.
That's right. We have an insider.
Yes.
Not anymore. I left that behind. Thank God.
And we're all big comics geeks. When did you first discover comics?
I was like 3.
3?
Yeah, 3. Mm-hmm. And the first one was actually X-Men No, wait. It was the one with the Starjammers in it. I know that much. It's somewhere around here. It was like the first appearance of the Starjammers. So it's the early 60s stuff. And that's why I always continue to be a fan of early X-Men stuff, because that's where I started. With DC, it was like Aquaman.
Of course.
Now you know.
Of course.
So yeah, just been podcasting and I've been a nerd since birth.
Comes by it honest.
Yep.
And what are you watching on TV right now? Everything.
Arrow, unfortunately, Preacher, iZombie. I got to get caught up on the Netflix Marvel stuff, but outside of that, I'm pretty much kind of burnt out on the DC TV.
Well, the season finales are coming in 2 weeks, so we'll get a break. But I didn't know you were watching Preacher, so yeah, season 2's coming up here soon. What, in June?
Yep, I'm excited for it. It's actually it's not as respectful to the source material as I thought it would be, but they do it better than a lot of the other DC TVU. I tend to find the stuff based on the Vertigo stuff to be a little bit better.
Well, that season 1, it was kind of like a prequel to anything that came in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe season 2 will be more closer to the source material.
I tried Walking Dead. I love the comic books, but it's boring and gory, and that's just the wrong combination for gory. So
some of these seasons are like slower than others, but I mean Jeffrey Dean Morgan is like awesome in it. He was
Supernatural fan. I know how awesome he is.
Would that be goring or boring?
I like goring.
Goring, yes, it's very gory.
I mean, the character he plays, Negan, could be like so cheesy over the top, but I mean, he plays it well, like just strutting around, like his excrement doesn't stink, and All right. So
come on, Phil, stop delaying it. Let's get to you.
Okay, I was going to give you more time, but okay.
Who are you and where did you come from?
Well, let's see. My podcast origin. Well, Lilith Hellfire put me on a podcast, so that's my origin there. The youngest one. She has the most experience of all of us.
Yes. Well,
millennials, damn us.
These millennials dragging us into their newfangled technology.
in my day, we had radio, and we liked it. You only listened to it in the car.
And yeah, and comic book wise, I mean, I started. Well, my first comic book was Transformers because I was such a, that was my age, man. I was watching Transformers as a kid, the cartoon, the original cartoon. None of this newfangled garbage. And I got.
Oh, some of the new Transformers stuff is good.
Mm-hmm. And the Transformers comic was like my gateway drug. Then I started collecting like Spider-Man and Hulk because I was like, hey, I've seen those cartoons and Batman and Superman, and just expanded from there. The John Wesley ship Flash hit CBS, and I was like, oh, I should read this Flash comic. Then I picked it up and I was like, wait a minute, this isn't Barry Allen. This is Wally West. What is going on here? Because I had no internet. That was like 1990. I didn't have the internet. But yeah, like Lilith was saying, I will be watching Preacher again, Walking Dead, watch all the CW stuff, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like our good friend Charlie Esser there, which we're getting another season.
Yay! Has to be some good news.
I'm trying to think of other stuff I watch that isn't like comic book based. Big Bang Theory, Law and Order SVU, still hanging in there on that. Well, it is comic books, but Comic Book Men. I don't know. That's probably about it. Oh, Gotham, of course, but that's DC stuff.
We're allowed to talk about DC stuff here.
What? Well, it's loosely based on Batman, so kind of is. I mean, they put that DC logo on it. Yeah. What also got another season.
Mm-hmm.
Get that syndication money.
Cha-ching. Yeah, but yeah, most of my stuff is comic based, but
no shame in that.
Yeah, no, of course, no, not these days, no.
So no one here reads Harry Potter?
Yeah, you know what? I've never read the books, and I've seen like one movie, and I can barely remember it. I've never really gotten into the Harry Potter thing.
No, me neither.
This was my jam in middle school and high school. What are you talking about?
Oh, there we go. Okay, so I knew we had a Potterhead here.
You millennials.
Yeah, well,
my other podcast, specifically with Dawn, like Teen Wolf and our old Supernatural, we always made Harry Potter references. That was like the goal. Every episode had to have a Harry Potter reference in it.
See, in my day, we had a lion, a witch, and a wardrobe, and that was it. And we liked it.
Speaking of, let's get to Charlie Esser. Charlie Esser.
If you don't know, origin. I'm the old one.
Not by much.
Yes, well, old enough. I am, of course, Charlie, the Professor Esser. I use the honorific professor because it is meaningless, but a term used by supervillains and band leaders to intimidate the weak-minded.
Wait! Before you get too far, Lilith, didn't you say the other week that you were going to bring up that the name Professor is always like denotes evil?
Exactly. Even Professor X, because he's a little shady. I'm just saying.
Very much shady, man.
He admits it. I love it.
No, man. Everyone knows. Not for nothing, ever since he first met Marvel Girl and he was like, oh, hey, she's hot. It's like, dude, she's 12. Okay? No. Professor Xavier, very evil man. Bald head wheelchair mind control powers. Does that ever not lead to evil? Do you know?
He should run for U.S. government.
Yes. Oh, that was the premise of the Ruin series, Mm-hmm. When what if Professor Xavier just said to heck with it and took over the world and made Kingpin head of his little fascist. No one ever minded when Charles Xavier became a fascist. So I don't know. But it's a good series, Ruins. It's just two issues, but a real dark and twisted. Captain America's a cannibal, and it gets crazy.
See, everyone, if you haven't figured it out yet, you have found the Geek Podcast.
Yes. So my introduction to comic books. I always say my first comic book was an early Fantastic Four that I found in a dentist's office. I don't even remember which one it was, but I think it was right at the start of the Byrne era. And I remember it because the thing says "damn." And I was like, "Whoa, DAMN!" And I was like, "Okay, you have piqued my interest, good sir." And that was my first introduction to comic books. Then I went to a Catholic school and we had magazine sales. So, my mom would always buy me a subscription, and because it was Marvel that they had subscriptions to, that's how I got into Marvel Comics. And my first comics were Marvel Team Up, and I did the Indiana Jones and the G.I. Joe comics, and the Conan the Barbarian. I have mad love for Conan. I am so mad he's not at Marvel anymore, because it made me so sad when Marvel lost Conan, man. And I like, to this day, I think back to when Conan was part of Marvel's history. As it turns out, Marvel actually had several licensed characters. Like Fu Manchu was a Marvel character and became central to Marvel's history. And then they lost the character, and they had to sort of say, it wasn't really Fu Manchu. That was this other random guy.
Oh, comic book practices. We should have a whole podcast about that. Yeah, it's really sad.
But yes, and of course, from there, I got into all the standard genre television, classic Doctor Who with Baker, and actually, I will say my favorite Doctor is Sylvester, Sylvester McCoy. I loved because that was, that was like the first new ones when I was right at the perfect age, and him and Mel, I loved that. That was my jam for a while, and I like that he did magic tricks. He did the thing we would make the card appear. And then current Doctor Who doesn't do enough sleight of hand. That's all I'm saying. Of course, love Star Trek. I can go for hours about why the Ferengi are actually the most enlightened race in all of the Star Trek universe.
What?
Because the Ferengi. I love the Ferengi, The Ferengi, the Ferengi are corrupt and venial, but at least they know it. And they strive in their sense of their corruption to make the universe a better place. You see, that's the thing. It's like the Federation, they're just fascists. They know, they believe in what they believe, and they always assume they're doing right, even when they're doing horrible, horrible things to people. The Ferengi will do horrible, horrible things to people, but at least they're honest. We know this is awful, but quite frankly, it does make a profit. So I like the honesty of the Ferengi as a culture, and there is a beauty to the idea of a greed for all Ferenginar.
This is why I wanted this podcast. I knew conversations like this would come up.
Yes. Let's see. What else is there that I like? Big fan of the cartoon universes. I love Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
My kids have pulled me into that. And that is why I like, that's why I like the Damian character, Damian Wayne in the comics, because they are so basing him off of the Teen Titans Go, Dick Grayson Robin, with all of the bravado and, you can see deep-rooted sense of fear of failure, fear of not being everything he pretends to be. And I find that to be a delightful dynamic. Of course, my main love is, of course, Marvel Comics. I read the Marvel Saga. Oh, I love Marvel. I loved Marvel Saga. I mean, that was like the golden age of geekery. Is when you could just rather than having to read comic books, you had just this book that was put together that was the entire timeline of the Marvel history, broken down as they were doing it, and that is why to this day that is my canon. It's like, anything that's any new canon, I just ignore. That's not canon. That wasn't in Marvel Saga. That is, if it's not in Marvel Saga or the official handbook to the Marvel Universe, which is why to this day, I will tell you, Wolverine's claws are bionic. They are not organic. That's just cosmic cubery or something. But you go back to the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, they say bionic claws. Clearly, in his structure, it says bionic claws that were added after the adamantium was added to his body, because it doesn't make any sense for his claws to be organic.
That's right, everyone. He loves the handbook, the Marvel handbook, because it provides him with a wealth of Marvel knowledge, not because Nightshade was in it in a bikini. Not at all.
That was good too.
There's room for both.
Yeah, there's room for both. No, Deadly Nightshade. Oh, I am so glad that David Walker brought back Deadly Nightshade. Mm-hmm. She is, and I'm so glad that she is in Occupy Avengers. Honestly, what is it, Nighthawk guy? He was slowing her down. No, really. Tilda Johnson, this is a woman who has needed her own book for so long, and I'm just glad she has it. And I really think that David Walker is giving her just the perfect voice. So, like that. And I love Red Wolf, man. Who would have thought that Red Wolf was going to be as awesome as a character as he is? And like I said, I am so hoping they make him the new Captain America. And I also want him to say at some point in Secret Empire, say, the man wears an American flag. How did you know he wasn't a fascist? You do know that the Americans murdered, most of the Native Americans on this continent, right? I mean, you do know that this was a fascist regime for a very long time. How is this surprising to you people? But he probably won't, because on his universe, Steve Rogers actually was a decent and good man. Because it was Sheriff Rogers who gave him the star after he was murdered. Well, he didn't give him. He defended Red Wolf. It's a very complex story. But the Secret Wars Marvel, was it 1890? I think it was called. It was good. It's a good series. You never get as much of the payoff, and it's very disappointing that we were only on that world for like one issue when they did the Red Wolf, and they threw him into this universe. So we have no idea what's going on in the 1890 universe right now. So, but who knows? It might be part of the Renew Your Vows universe, since apparently that is Battle World, because they have both X-Men 90s and Renew Your Vows in the same place. So, okay. Do you guys have anything to add?
Well, I was going to say, I'll ask you this, and then we'll circle back around to me and Lilith. What current comics are your favorites right now, Charlie? Marvel and DC, and well, basically anything else. What's your favorite comics?
Well, I'm only able to read Marvel and DC. Honestly, I kind of want to get I Hate Fairyland, because I really like the I Hate Image Free Comic Book Day book. So I'm kind of intrigued by I Hate Fairyland, so I may pick that up. But right now, I'd have to say my favorite, my absolute favorite is The Ultimates, hands down. The Ultimates is just consistently such a solid book, and it does that cosmic craziness that I love. And and then you have Occupy and Ms. Marvel, and of course Gwenpool. Oh, how can I not love Gwenpool? She is the best. And then over at DC, I like the new Superman. That's probably my favorite over at DC is New Superman, because it's about discovering the world of superpowers in a oppressive regime. And what better tale for a young person to learn about comic books and superheroes today than to read about them in a fictionalized communist China?
No Squirrel Girl? You didn't mention Squirrel Girl.
That was mine.
Yeah. With you, I like Squirrel Girl. I still like Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl, I don't think she's been delivering as strong as some of my other books have lately. It's still great. It's still fantastic. I just didn't want to list every single Marvel book I own, because if I'm reading a Marvel book, it's probably because I like it a lot. You know, there are very few that I just because if I don't like it, I stop reading it. Thank you, Carol Danvers. You don't bring a good story, I'm going to walk away. Poor Hellcat, man. I loved Hellcat, and then but the stories weren't there, and it's like I can't spend $4 a month on you, Patsy, if you don't have good stories, And that killed me, because I love Hellcat. She's such an awesome character, and they just ruined her. Do what you want with Captain America. You give me a good Patsy Walker back. Thank you very much.
I just miss you singing the theme song.
Oh, it's Patsy. It's Patsy. She really wants to be your friend.
Although, I love her video now. We get to dance.
Well, actually, because during the rewatch, I realized, because for those who don't know, I also do all of the Netflix show with my skinny rich friend Maz Manzoor.
They're great.
And when I was redoing the rewatch on Jessica Jones, I realized that the actual theme song isn't that sing-songy. That's how Jessica Jones sings it when she's in the morgue, and she goes, "It's Patsy, it's Patsy." But actually, the actual theme song that they do, it's much more like hard rock. It's like, "It's Patsy, it's Patsy. She really wants to be your friend." And it's like, it's a much more. Whereas Jessica's sort of singing it in kind of this 50s sitcom style, it had a much more Disney XD style, which makes sense when you think about it for their ages. But it was interesting.
And because it wasn't Patsy on a sitcom or something, like when she was a kid. Yeah, that's I think that's where the theme song
comes from, Phil. It's the theme song from her sitcom. Sorry. It's Patsy. Come on, Netflix, give us some episodes of It's Patsy. I do want that. Like, put the little like they did with the horse, like they did with Horsing Around, where they put up episodes of Horsing Around. Other thing I'm into, BoJack Horseman.
Yes,
the finest televised program currently being produced. Better than Powerless.
Treasure.
Yes.
Oh no! Let's let it go, Charlie. It's gone. Powerless.
I know. I have let it go. Like I said,
they drove the stake through its heart already. Come on, let it go. Let it
no, go. It's fine. It's no Jennifer slept here. As I said, I was 10 at the time, but I cried when Jennifer Slept Here got canceled. Because I was a child, and you cry over television shows getting canceled when you are a child. You cry over heel turns when you're a child. I cried when Andre the Giant turned evil. I don't worry so much when Captain America turns evil, because I'm a grown-up now. And people turn evil in fictional stories. It happens. Luke Skywalker turned evil in like the Dark Empire line in was that by who did that? Was like the secondary Star Wars books that was like continuing on.
That's not canon anymore, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not.
No. Well, yeah, a lot of stuff isn't canon. Well, it's not canon because that's not that universe. And I mean, you could argue that it's an alternate universe canon, but it's not official Disney canon. But it exists.
But yeah, people go bad in fiction. I mean, look at Barry Allen.
Yeah. Oh, he's the worst.
So Lilith, what are your favorite comics right now?
Aquaman.
Of course.
His intrigue is it's the best he's been for a while. Green Arrow, because he's made a comeback. Thank you, Benjamin Percy. I'll say Superman. They finally have figured it out that nobody likes what they were doing. So it's time to pander to the fans and give us what we want. On the Marvel side, it's pretty much just down to Squirrel Girl, Deadpool, and Gwenpool. I read a lot of Walking Dead, like the old stuff. I'm not even caught up on. Like, I started about like 3 years ago, so I'll never be caught up unless I take like 2 months off of work. And then I just pretty much pick up a lot of number ones from like Image and Valiant, and it tends not to stick, but the number ones are really good, but I just kind of forget about them. Because not a lot of my local comic books shops suck. They just suck. I'm sorry. Just Tampa Bay area, y'all suck. Y'all need to get it together. And I like to have physical stuff. Like, I get a lot of digital stuff. I like physical things. Physical things that I pick up, that's what I really love and follow. So It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's right, fans. Lilith is kind of digital. Me and Charlie like the physical copy for the most part, right?
Oh, and Archie. How can I forget Archie? I love
Archie. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you mostly like the new Archies, or were you actually into the classic Archie too?
Classic. I got into the Archie comic books because of the cartoon back in like the late 80s, early 90s that came on after Alvin and the Chipmunk. Yes. And I was in a grocery store. I'm like, oh, they're actual like little digest comic books, and I thought that was just so cool that I never noticed it before until I saw the cartoon. So it was just like, yeah, that's how I got into it, and it's so good. Like it's tropey as hell, but I love it.
Yes, gotta love what you love. Yes,
but Archie's really good too for millennials.
Yeah, well, it's angsty, and the kids today like
After Death is good. It's really good. It surprised me. The horror series is really good too, where he meets Predator. It's just all kinds of craziness. You should check out Archie if you haven't in like the last 20 years.
Well, yeah, that's right, everyone. If you get any like Riverdale reviews, it's probably going to be from that girl right there.
I gave it 3 episodes, and the other like 9 or whatever are sitting on my DVD, and I'm gonna watch it this weekend. So maybe. It got a season 2, right?
I think I heard that.
Yeah. No, Riverdale's coming back. I remember seeing that somewhere. Because I remember them saying that there's a possibility they're going to bring in Sabrina.
Yeah, like in the season finale, there's like a cameo or something.
Yeah, because it is that is on the WB, right?
Sabrina was on the WB, which turned into the CW. Yeah.
No. But I mean, the current Riverdale's on the WB.
CW. Yeah.
CW. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yes, that thing. The one that everyone that I call the WB because I'm old.
But no, fun fact: Sabrina actually transferred to UPN, and UPN and WB is what became the CW. So,
exactly. Yeah. Yes, I remember UPN. That's what Star Trek was on.
I won't say what a lot of Black people call that network. I'll just move on.
Okay.
Oh, UPN, terrible.
Alrighty. I guess I'll go to my comics. I like the Green Arrow, like Lilith was saying. I love also Red Hood and the Outlaws and Nightwing.
Duh. Anybody that listens to World's Finest.
every time it comes out, yeah. But I just I love all the Batman, Superman stuff. Even Green Lantern's been like better than it has been the last couple of years. On the Marvel side, I like the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, of course. Daredevil, of course, Deadpool. We love Deadpool. As you'll find out, Lilith and I will bring our show, Wade's World, here.
Jimmy Changa time.
Excellent. Woo. Oh, that's the other. Yeah. I'm trying. Oh, there's so much stuff. Oh, and then I read Walking Dead and Spawn, and I recently discovered Renato Jones from Kari Andrews. You'll hear that interview on our podcast soon. Another nice Canadian fellow I talked to like a couple months ago. Charlie and I talked to Jim Zub, who's writing Thunderbolts. And, all these Canadian guys, so nice and polite.
Yes, well, because they have universal health
care.
They
have to make up for Justin Bieber, so
I like both your answers. Make up for Justin Bieber, and they have universal health care.
Universal health care makes people much nicer because if you have universal health care, you're not always feeling the desperation of your life. And no, this is my grand unified theory of why there are so many Canadian artists and entertainers in American popular culture. Because you have universal health care, you never have to make a decision, do I get a real job, that has benefits, or do I continue working piecemeal jobs, so I can work on my art? So if you're from a country that has universal health care, you can work on your art and perfect your art, whether it's acting, writing, performing, whatever, and then you can work those survival gigs because they're just survival gigs. You don't have to You don't have to worry about, I have to have a 9 to 5 because a 9 to 5 is the only way I'm going to get benefits, and the only way. And if I don't have benefits, I will die. Or run a high probability of dying horribly. The second I get strep that I think is a cold, and then I wind up like poor old Jim Henson. It's in countries without universal health care, of which there's one, you have to make that choice. Whereas in a place like Canada, you'd never have to make that choice, and you can make better art because of it. Yes.
You're right, because all of America's sweethearts for like the last 10, 15, 50 years, whatever, William Shatner, Pamela Anderson, Caroline Ray, people that have said that they're actually Canadian, so you might be on to something, Charlie.
No, trust me. I actually, I grew up in Michigan. I'm very familiar with the Canadian aesthetic and the world of Canadianism. So yeah, well, I'm steeped in Canadian culture, and this is something I learned a long time ago, that if you have that opportunity, which sadly I missed my opportunity to move to Canada when I could, and now I'm stuck here in America, and it's not as good. At least as far as becoming an artist.
A lot of my knowledge of Canada comes from South Park, with their beady eyes and flapping heads.
Like in real life. Yes, I love South Park too.
Yeah.
That movie, oh man. I remember seeing that movie in the theater. Fell out of my seat laughing so hard.
Yes. We find that film very, very offensive in Canada.
Oh, listen to him. He thinks he's from Canada now.
Well, I am a Canadian citizen. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, he's a dual citizenship.
I have dual citizenship. I fought for my Canadian citizenship because there was a clerical issue where they had ended certain people for the citizenship of people born abroad, and I went and I testified to Parliament to ask them to please reinstate the citizenship of Canadians born abroad, because there were a lot of Canadians who actually were born abroad, because if you lived on the border, often the better hospital was in America. So you wound up being born in America for a lot of, and so you had people who, had fought for Canada, who were Canadian war heroes, who suddenly woke up one day and said, "Oh, you're not Canadian anymore." And so it was actually a big controversial thing, but I was one of the guys who fought to get my Canadian citizenship back. I finally got it. And, and unfortunately, because of other things in life, we just have not had the opportunity to move back to Canada yet. So that was our original plan. Me and my wife, after we got married, we're going to move to Canada, start our new life. And then I found out while I was in Canada on our honeymoon that, guess what? You're not a citizen anymore. Oops. Yeah.
Charlie Esser, International Man of Mystery.
Yeah, these are I'm giving you my whole origin, my super secret origin, man. Yes. It's supposed to be secret origins.
Oh, Professor might be gone. Now he's Dr. Evil.
No, I can't be a doctor because I don't have a doctorate. I'm not like a fake doctor like Dr. Doom or Dr. Phil. You don't have to make up. I'm not a guy who's just going to say, "Oh, I'm a doctor." No. I think that if you're going to be a doctor, you should have earned a doctorate from an accredited university. You can't just say, "I'm a doctor." Professor, anyone can be a professor because you just have to profess to be a professor. But to be a doctor, you actually have to have some kind of credential. So that's why I call him Mr. Doom, not Dr. Doom.
Shots fired at Dr. Phil in our first podcast. I don't know, man.
There goes that advertising money.
No. Were we getting advertising money from Dr. Phil? I don't know.
No. What are you doing?
No. I'll be honest with you. I actually don't know that Dr. Phil does not have a doctorate in something. I had heard
that he was a podiatrist or something like that.
Oh well, if he actually is a doctor, then I withdraw my criticism. It doesn't matter what you have a doctorate in. You can call yourself a doctor if you have a doctorate in something. If an MD is a doctor, a PhD is a doctor of fine arts like Stephen Colbert. He is Dr. Colbert as far as I'm concerned.
What did Dr. Doom get his doctorate in? He didn't even finish college, did he?
No, he's a dropout, man. The only reason why he calls himself Dr. Doom This was in like the books of Doom. A Secret Origin of Doctor Doom was when he was hanging out with the techno monks in Tibet, or somewhere in the Himalayas, two blocks from Kunlun, 2 blocks the other way. So it goes Atalan, Kunlun, and then this other monastery, and then you go a little further, and that's where the Ancient One lives.
Nanda, all of them.
Yeah, all these little lost cities up in the Himalayas where just people hang out. But while he was there, they were picking up. He kept on hearing about the fantastic achievements of Dr. Reed Richards on the news, and he got so mad that everyone was calling him Dr. Reed Richards. And he just said, "I am Dr. Von Doom. Call me Dr. Doom." The monks are like, "Sure, Dr. Doom, whatever." It's no skin off our nose. Yeah, and then he murdered all the monks because he's Dr. Doom and he's evil. Don't care if your face is fixed, you're still evil, Dr. Doom. Not buying it.
Supposedly he's a real psychologist, but I thought that his accreditation was called into question some years back. And he was like,
Who, Dr. Phil or Dr. Doom?
Dr. Phil.
Well, and again, being a psychologist doesn't require you to have a doctorate. You can have a master's and be a psychologist.
Okay. That's why you can't prescribe.
It's to be a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist has to be an MD.
Yep.
But a psychologist.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. So there actually are these differentiations in I know this. That's why I'm not Dr. Esser. I'm Professor Esser. You think I just make this stuff up? I do research. I do hardcore research into these things so that I can do the best I can for these things,
See how much preparation he puts in? He doesn't just pull a nickname out of thin air. He researches.
Yes.
Well, researches the requirements.
To be honest, the term Professor Esser, that's sort of a family nickname. My mom used to refer to my older brother Donald as Donald the Professor Esser, because he was also very smart. He actually does have his degree. So, but once I had that, I knew it was a good rhyme, so it's a very catchy name. But then I made sure that it did work etymologically. So, for example, if my name, I wouldn't go by Dr. Esser if my name were Doctor, like if my name was, Octor. So I wouldn't be Dr. Octor if I wasn't actually a doctor, because I would have researched this, and even though it sounds nice, it doesn't really work.
It's like Mr. Pibb. He's just there when you line them all up, all the fake ones, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Thunder, things like that. He's just there for support.
Well, or maybe he's just not full of himself. Because I don't think Dr. Pepper has a doctorate either. I think he is just faking it, like Dr. Doom.
He has a doctorate in being a spicy alternate cola. Damn it! This podcast is not sponsored by Dr. Pepper, but we welcome it if they want to be.
I prefer Mr. Pibb.
I thought you liked Faygo.
I do like Faygo. But Faygo doesn't actually have a doctor variant. Faygo, well, unless you count Rock and Rye, but I don't think of Rock and Rye as a pepper variant. In fact, I would say that if anything, Dr. Pepper is a poor man's Rock and Rye. Rock and Rye is a very delicious soft drink. Yeah, I don't think Faygo makes a doctor, a doctor drink. So there you go. Do you guys actually know what Faygo? Have you guys had Faygo? I don't know if any of you guys have ever been up to the Midwest. Yeah, I know that Phil's in like Eastern Pennsylvania, so I don't know. No, you're in Western Pennsylvania. Yeah, so I've been to your house. Yeah, so you've probably seen Faygo. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I love Faygo, man. Faygo and Verner's.
I love Verner's. I have Verner's in my refrigerator right now. Best ginger ale.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. Oh. No. Although I introduce people who like ginger ale to Verner's, and it's too strong for some people.
It does have a bit of a bite.
Yeah, but that's what makes it good, man. It's a Michigan drink. It's a drink for people that are.
Michigan drink.
It's from Michigan, man. We take great pride in the existence of Vernors there, you know? We were worried when Pepsi bought the rights to Vernors that they were going to not make it as good as it used to be. There are people who will say that, you know, Vernors Classic is better, you know. I personally think that the Pepsi variation on Vernors is just fine. It works. And I wish they would work to give it a bigger national standing, but, you know, they're working with...
down here in Florida, so I say it works. I saw some in California too. So.
Oh, okay. So they're out there. They're working on it, man. Drink your Vernors, kids. It'll put a hair on your chest.
All right. Is that enough origin?
It is off the rail, so yes.
All right. Well, all right. Let's do social media so then we can get to episode 1, our Guardians review. But all right, Lilith Hellfire, where can people find you?
Well, I'm gonna follow this out and be live tweeting the next couple episodes of all the DC TV. So you can follow me on at Lilith Hellfire on Twitter. For every other thing else though, at Adventures in FG, every single social media. I'm talking Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, About Me, Instagram, whatever. At Adventures in FG. Be sure to check out my website, adventuresinfangirling.com. And that's pretty much all I need to say. Who's next?
Charlie, the Professor Esser, where can people find you?
Well, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our Maz and Paz once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Incredible Hulk, 7 o'clock on Saturdays on MeTV. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEssser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality.
And like I was saying yesterday, I don't have a fancy sing-songy way, but you can always contact me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And as for the show, because this is a podcast also, you can always contact us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Facebook is facebook.com/capesandlunatics. Twitter @capeslunatics. Instagram, Capes and Lunatics. Pinterest, Capes and Lunatics Podcast. And we even have a voicemail so you could hear yourself right here. 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Because we love to plug ourselves in everything we do.
Wait a minute, was that the folder or a phone?
Oh no, remember I had like a paper folder? I actually upgraded. I'm using an old iPad now.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we end this? Did we ever? I don't think we ever came up with it.
We didn't come up with an outro.
No.
Oh well.
Oh wait. Okay. All right. So that's it for this episode. Join us next time from the Capes
and the Lunatics.
I thought you were the and, Charlie. You're supposed to say and.
Oh.
You called and, I thought.
Okay. Well, I did call and, but because you were doing from the Cape, yeah. So you were claiming Capes, and that left Lunatics, assumably for me and Lilith. So Lilith got what I was doing there, I think. But yes.
This is a work in progress, folks. So yeah. See you next time from the Capes.
And
Lunatics.
Okay, so I guess Lilith is the lunatic then. Okay.
She called it.
All right. I called it the first time.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
So yeah, join us next time for a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. Peace.